Drake, who dropped,
Drizzy.
oh man, dropping Out of the Clouds. Honestly, Nevermind, his first dance album.
Correct.
So you mentioned Joey, not being able to clear samples, pushing the album back a few weeks. I mean that feels like a clearing out for Drake when Drake announced that he's doing this new album on Thursday night. Which I get it. No one wants to go up against Drake, and the proof is in the pudding. This is an album that is getting pretty widely panned and is the number one dance album on every platform that tracks that right now.
That's how Drake does, bro.
Yeah, just he's
doesn't matter what it is. It's gonna be consumed because it's Drake. That's how things are. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think some people were like, "Why did Drake go this route?" And it's like he's kind of been telling us that he's been, towing the line with this route since More Life. Really, I mean, More Life, we get like a whole like 5 or 6 track run where it just is club vibe house music, and it's like
Afrobeats.
Yeah, he's going for this. So I wasn't totally shocked to see him put out an album like this. I guess I was just shocked that it was this quality because I kind of found myself just like feeling like I give him credit for going for it, but I just didn't think the songs were really there. What was your response, or what was your take?
Yeah, I think that's right. Drake is not new or unaccustomed to dabbling in other genres. Whether it's something that makes a bit more sense, like is expressing his love of British hip hop by taking in grime influences. Of course, the more overt stuff like the Afrobeat, use on a song like One Dance, or more island dance hall stuff like on Passion Fruit on More Life. People know the examples at this point, but to go so hard into electronic dance music, but specifically like deep house more than anything else, a very specific like beats per minute range. It's like, wow, I give Drake a lot of credit. As you said, like Drake going this route is honestly like really impressive to me, and I think is a good sign for like Drake moving forward, because the one thing we didn't want is for Drake to just go completely stale. And Certified Lover Boy, despite being this massive hit, an album that's like still in the top 10 every week off the streams, for some reason people are really streaming the shit out of that. And I think a big part of that's playlisting, obviously, but like people are streaming the shit out of CLB. And CLB just was like, with a few exceptions, was just not the album I wanted it to be. And in terms of, I know how good a rapper Drake can be, and that just wasn't hitting there. The fact that honestly Nevermind is not Drake doing more bland trap beats is really cool. Mm-hmm. The issue for me though is like I think the Drake performance on many of these honestly Nevermind songs is just not what I want from Drake. It's not what I like to listen to Drake. I think a lot of these beats,
for Drake.
Right? I think a lot of these beats are awesome. These are great, really well made songs, and it's not just deep house. There's a bit of variety on this, which is really cool. The problem though, like I said, is the Drake performance. I don't love Passion Fruit that much, but people really love that song. But regardless, like when Drake does his non-rapping performance, and he's done this for 10 years, this is what he does. For me, I just think some of the singing is a bit undercooked on this. And, like I'm not a Marvin's Room guy on Take Care. And a lot of these was giving me Marvin's Room vibes in the wrong way, especially like when he goes to like the higher pitch on like what was it on Falling Back right off the jump. I was like, oh man, when you hit that higher pitch, I was like, oh no, this is not that good. Like I just don't like this performance from you. And I think that just might just be a limitation of Drake. Like I honestly thought the singing on Scorpion's, the singing side of Scorpion, the R&B side of Scorpion, is a lot better than some of the singing on this. And like I just the performance, the songwriting is just a bit undercooked for me, which perhaps is a continuation of the problems with Certified Lover Boy. But it's a bit of a shame because I actually think a lot of these beats and the concept of these songs is actually kind of cool. But the Drake performance is very up and down for me.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't really know if there's like a song where I'm like, man, Drake really just like crushed that. I do think like the songs that stand out to me are the songs where I really like the beats and the production on it more. Something like Massive stands out to me as
Yeah.
one of my favorite tracks
Kate
because
Renata-esque,
yeah,
perhaps?
exactly. I think that's a really good way to put it. And like those pianos, is it's just that the keyboard in that is just so inviting and it really drives it. Another problem with these tracks is that pretty much every track I like goes on for like 2 minutes too long. You know, like this is a 52-minute album that very much probably could have been 35 minutes, and you wouldn't have lost much on this. Um, House music is trancy, and it kind of thrives off of just like these loops and people just kind of vibing to these loops. I don't know if Drake made songs that were worthy of being 5 minutes long. You know, these could have been 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I think
Mm,
we kind of get the point. Something like Text Go Green
yeah.
has a lot of potential and I think
That
is really
synth line
good.
is fucking awesome.
It's so good. And then it gets to be like 4 minutes in. I'm like, all right. And now I'm just listening to this loop and I'm like, you could have cut this off at 3:30 when you were
Yeah,
finished singing and I would have liked the song way more. So
right.
it's I again I appreciate what he's going for. I think the production on this is great. Shout out to Black Coffee. Shout out to
Yes.
Carnage. I really love a lot of the tracks that
Carnage, yeah.
they did, but man, it really left you wanting more. And then you get the final track, and you're just like, what the fuck, man? Like, why couldn't you have done more of this? Why couldn't we have gotten more Jimmy Cooks on this, bro? I don't know. It's a little
Uh,
frustrating.
Everyone's been saying it. Jimmy Cooks is like Bound 2 on Yeezus, where like Kanye Drake is like, just in case you forgot, I still got it.
But there was
And yet,
something that you forgot.
Jimmy Cooks, take Keith on the beat, 21 Savage, amazing guest spot once again. The
They're
one of
so
my
good together.
perhaps my I think it's my favorite line on the whole album. It's from 21 Savage, asking all these questions. Bitch, you must think me Nadeska, the chopper, like to feel on all the ops. It's a molester. It's like, oh my god, this guy is still so good. But Drake sounds awesome on that,
Yeah.
and Drake also sounds grand sticky, which I think is probably the coolest song in like the sequence, because they were being real. Jimmy Cooks take Heath beat. It's a fucking trap beat. Like, it doesn't make any sense on honestly Nevermind. Sticky does. Sticky is still like Drake rapping, but it just kind of fits the production vibe, and that was interesting to me. By the way, check the Spotify top 50 right now in the US. The most popular songs are Jimmy Cooks and Sticky. People are listening to the rapping more than the other stuff. Shocking, I know.
Yeah. I mean, it, it's interesting. So there's been a lot written over the weekend since this dropped about like the production styles and the specific type of house that's
Yeah.
influenced this. You know, a lot of Baltimore, a lot of Philly um, influence from like the 2000s on this, which is like great. And like
Yes,
I think
definitely
you said
not
it.
modern electronic music, which is again very cool.
Yeah, which I think it just kind of emphasizes your point. Like Drake went into this with a vision, and Drake is not just kind of making the "I'm too sexy's." He's going for something that's actually inspiring him. I just wish it was a little bit more. I wish he was able to like mesh together what he does so well on songs like Jimmy Cooks with
Yeah.
that vibe. Like if something like A Keeper, which I thought was another track where I was like, it's like toned down, but like this feels like a Drake thing, but he just goes so into the singing and doesn't give a performance well enough. Then you get that like interesting ending where it's like the drums are really just building up, and it's like, man, if that like led to like if it was Drake like rapping and then that like built up and then this like groovy ending might have been a much more interesting song. But we're like you said, we're dealing with Marvin's Room Drake for most of this, and while Marvin's Room, I think I like the song a little bit more than you. It's definitely not what Drake thrives on at this point in his career. So,
Right. Yeah.
what's your like favorite Drake song from like the last few projects? Like, what do you find yourself going back to most?
And well, that's the thing. So we did Drake album rankings last year. Check that out. YouTube.com/Nostalgia Pod. My favorite Drake record is If You're Reading This. That
Mhm.
is what I want the most from Drake. But that is 2015. It's been a little while. So in terms of the recent Drake albums, I mean, we have CLB, we have Dark Lane demo tapes,
Mhm.
we have honestly
Scorpion.
Nevermind, and then we have Scorpion back in 2018. So
Mhm. I feel
honestly, I
like I go
feel
back to nonstop most.
Yeah, I think Scorpion, despite its bloated nature, still has some of the highest highs Drake ever had, and of course that was his commercial peak. You know, you mentioned Nonstop, take Heats there on that. God's Plan, the early
Mhm.
single, just monstrous. Nice for What, perhaps his best song of this whole era.
Mhm.
In My Feelings, like that era Drake is, I'm still gonna gravitate towards that off like it's so weird. Like the songs that became hits on CLB, like um, Fair Trade with Travis and Knife Talk with 21, I like just fine. And Girls Want Girls with Baby and God,
Mhm.
don't get me started. And I'm too sexy or way too sexy. Like those are just not like the level of hit that
No.
the hits were on Scorpion. And even like Wants and Needs with Little Baby off Scary Hours 2 became a monster track for him too. Um, but Lemon Pepper's freestyle with Ross is probably a better track, because that's just
Mhm.
actually Drake really in his pen. I think my favorite song of COB was 5 a.m. on Bridal Path, which I had in my top 10
Mhm.
last year, because that's just really Drake doing what he's done for over a decade now, which is like actually really showing off just how strong that pen actually is. And honestly, never mind, these songs are not made in a way that is ever going to allow Drake to show off that pen. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you gravitate towards? You said Nonstop.
Yeah, I think like you said, nonstop lemon pepper freestyle.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm upset. Like those are the tracks I find myself wanting to listen to most. Nonstop, probably by far my most played, like more recent Drake track, and I think that has just such like needle drop potential, as like pointed out in Euphoria, which I think it's one of like the best needle
Right.
drops of the first season when that comes on. But it's like I just want that Drake, and like
Oh,
I
we
think
forgot. We forgot a good example. His feature on Mr. Right Now with 21 and Metro Boomin.
yes, a
That's the
hundred
best
percent.
recent Drake song by far.
Yes, 100%. Great call. And so, like, I just wish we were getting. I again appreciate him taking this swing, and I hope he continues to explore genres in this way and really like lean into it, not like half-ass it. But
Mhm.
I hope he can find a way to take some of what makes him so sticky and so fun and
Right.
such a star and really like mesh it with these genres. And maybe this is just the first shot, and he's going to get better at it. I hope so.
Yeah, totally. And then there's still some cool ideas to take away from Honestly Nevermind. Like on Liability, there's like very intentional vocal effects on Drake's voice there, and then on Overdrive, which has a really nice beat, but also like very intentional like vocal layering of Drake's
Hmm.
vocals on top of each other. It's like these are things that you don't really hear on Drake songs at this point. Um, Vocal effects. Drake has never been like ASAP Rocky back in the day with like the completely distorted voice. That's not his thing. But maybe it could be his thing. Drake is so talented that we perhaps could see that. And I think, like you said, there was still a vision here that I really respect, and it's great that Drake still has like discernible vision this far into the game, this long, being at the top and having really nothing left to play for at this point. So that is, I think, probably the best takeaway from this more than anything else. I don't know what the hit is apart from Jimmy Cooks, because again, Jimmy Cooks doesn't feel like a song from this album, truth be told. So, on the other hand, Drake is this is assumingly the first release on Drake's re-upped, like full scale new deal he did with Universal Music Group towards the end of last year. People think he got like $400 million for this deal, this massive deal. The Weekend got a similar one. It seems like they have like the two biggest deals, major label deals, those two and Taylor on Universal. So Drake's not going away anytime soon. He even said that a Scary Hours 3 is been made and will come out in the relative future after he lets this cook for a little bit. So Drake's not going away, but I think more than anything, the surprise drop of Honestly Nevermind took me aback a little bit, because I had just been thinking about this like a few weeks ago. I was like, you know what? Is Drake going to take off this year? Because CLB has just been so
Massive.
present on the charts, in my opinion, for really no reason, because I don't like these songs that much, but like it just has never, it's been sticking around, right? So he didn't
Hmm.
have a need to get himself back out in the front, but he did. He,
Yeah,
he he does work a lot, which is to his credit. So I think this opens up new possibilities, and that is intriguing because Drake is halfway through his 30s at this point. If we can find anything that's like a new spice for Drake to
yeah,
stay on top, that's really really appealing. So
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely, I think it's worth listening to. People have really been criticizing it, and while it's definitely not top tier Drake, I don't think it's like I don't think it's a terrible album. So give it a listen. Let us know what you think.